Hey guys, John Craig here with Performance Plus Tennis. Welcome to today's video. We're going to take a deep dive into the serve of Andy Murray, who's having a great comeback year. And I have so much admiration for Andy after all the problems he had with his hip. If you have not seen his documentary Resurfacing, you got to see it. Because if you're not a big Andy Murray fan now, you certainly will be after you watch him. But you know, Andy Murray's a great athlete. He's 6'3", but he's never really had a big serve. And he's played so many points like the one we're watching with Novak Djokovic. That's a 23-shot rally that he finally does win. But I can't help ask myself, how many of these rallies has he had to play in his long career in order to win, where if he had a great serve, perhaps he would have won a lot more points off the serve and perhaps even a serve plus one strategy in his game. So we're going to take a close look at his serve, and I'm going to point out a few things that I think he could adjust and make better and shorten points as he moves towards the later part of his career here. It might just help him win more matches as well. So we're just watching here in slow motion, and then we're going to break it down for you. You know, he does a lot of things, of course, very, very well. But he could fine-tune a few things that we're going to go through, and you're going to see those here in the next serve that he hits. So let's go ahead and get started on that. And we'll move over here, and let's go again. So here we are. You know, I love the way he's got his weight forward, and he's in a great position where he can start a rhythm. He's got a nice wide stance, and he's going to move back. He's going to rock back and shift his weight to the back foot, which I'm definitely an advocate of, to counterbalance the tossing arm that rises in front. And what I really like here as well with Andy, and we can see this here, is he's really leading with the left hand. For those of you who have watched a lot of my videos, you know that I'm an advocate of leading with the left hand because it really does stabilize your body. It helps you place the ball with more accuracy, and it helps lead you into a much stronger trophy position. So what Andy's doing here is really fantastic. Looks great. His racket's in a beautiful position. His weight's definitely back. Looks really, really good. He's looking really pretty good all the way into this area. But then we'll watch him here, and what we're going to see is when he starts to shift that he has a pretty high elbow. His elbow's pretty high, and that's not quite where his shoulders are. But let's go right here. And you can see that his elbow is pretty high. So I would make a little adjustment here where I would recommend that he gets his elbow down lower so that's in alignment with his shoulders. It makes for a much more efficient swing. Overall, makes your swing shorter and more compact, but more efficient overall, and you can generate more power as well. So that's a recommendation I would make there. The next thing that we're going to see Andy do here is we're going to see him bring his back foot up. But watch how he brings it up, and he just puts the toe down and really doesn't look like he's got much of a real load at all in that right leg. And in fact, it looks like it's just kind of floating in there. He's just almost on his tiptoes, really. If we just look at it, he's really on the tiptoes more than he really is, loading with that leg. So I think that he brings the leg up a little too late in the process. And what happens is he brings it up just in time. We'll see it here, just in time to go into the swing, and right there, and now he really doesn't have much time to load it, and he's already into his swing, and he doesn't get the benefit of the pinpoint that he could if he got a good strong load, like Felix does, Auger-Aliassime. If you see that here on YouTube, you'll see how he really gets a really good strong load into it. Okay. Other thing I want you to notice about Andy Murray, and this is a big one too, is that Andy finishes his serve with his arm. We'll go back to this one. With his arm out here. So a lot of players associate that with where his hand is when he's actually making contact. But the reality is this, is that when Andy's making contact, his left arm is locked underneath, just like everybody else's is, okay? And here's another myth we want to talk about. We hear about keeping the arm up, keeping the tossing arm up, but watch how his left arm actually pulls away and the racket follows. See that, how his arm is down? And now watch, it gets to the bottom, and the two are almost matching. The bottom of the racket and the left hand are almost matching. So mistake a lot of club level players make here is they leave the left tossing arm up too long, and they don't get the sequencing right to generate good shoulder over shoulder action that we do see here from Andy. Okay? And you'll see that his hand holds there. It actually comes up slightly, holds all the way through, and it's only right here at the end that the hand actually floats away. So for those of you who like to let that left hand float, make sure that you lock it in underneath as you make contact before you let it release off to the side. Okay? So let's go through a couple of things here too. Again, I think that we're going to see when Andy serves, he comes in. I don't think he gets a really good load here. He really doesn't get down on the legs like he could. And we're going to see in this next series here a couple of things that are really going to be surprising. So here he comes loading in, and you'll see when he brings that right foot in, that his hips are actually on this angle, and yet his shoulders are this way. So he's actually twisting in his torso. Okay? That could lead to lower back problems. That could even lead to maybe a little bit of a hip problem. He's not in alignment. So he's not going to get optimum power because he's really in a twist. So just imagine yourself being in this position. Okay? Now I think that the culprit here could very well be, we can't see his feet, but I would imagine his feet are the same angles as his hips and his knees. So I think that right foot needs to stay behind the left, and he needs to be in a more connected, more coordinated position where you're more in alignment. So be careful about that. You really need to stay in alignment when you're serving. Okay. So next up, we're going to watch as he comes onto the ball here. Left hand's pulling away. That looks pretty good. I like the way the palm was down. Look how the racket is really way over in this area. Okay. That means that his swing is going to have to make a big circle to come around to get to contact, which we're going to see here in a moment. He's going to have to swing that around. Okay. So let's watch him here. Sorry for the lines there. Watch how it comes around and behind. And now when he's in this position, does it look like he's in a position of leverage? I would say not. Okay. He's definitely not in a position where you'd have optimum strength. And if you look at most servers, you're going to see that the head is going to be actually more in front of the hitting shoulder than we see here. Okay. And the racket, you're going to see as he moves here, the racket's opening up very early on the ball. So he's now just pushing the racket through. See how he's just pushing it through to the ball? So he's not getting much long axis rotation on his serve. In fact, we're going to watch this for a second. I'm going to go back. And you can see the vein in his bicep right here. And then when we're swinging here, watch how it really doesn't go anywhere. Look at that. It doesn't go anywhere until after contact. So Andy's really lacking the long axis rotation into contact that we see from the best servers in the world. So he could work on this, and that would help him get a lot more racket head acceleration as well. Okay? And when he's making contact, his head is actually behind the shoulder. And this is something that's very rarely talked about. But if your head is behind, you're actually in a weak position. You really want your head to be in front of your playing shoulder. He's really pushing through this shot. So he's leaving a lot of power on the table in this serve. And now if we watch from this, one more thing, when we come back here, you'll see that because he really lacks rotation into contact, watch where his racket goes. It just kind of falls with no real, rotational action. And the pronation here, when he's about this point in the serve, the racket string should actually be facing out to the right for most servers. That's where the racket face would be pointing if he had good long axis pronation. But he's lacking that. Okay? And in the next segment, we're going to see again, he's coming in, looks like he's on edge pretty good, but he turns early, and his contact point is actually off to the right. And we can see that again here too. Look how it's outside of his shoulder. I need to go back here and show you this. His shoulder is here, and his contact is outside the shoulder. It really is. It's not inside the shoulder. His arm should really be in an angle like this at this point in time. So a couple little adjustments that we could make that could make a really big difference in Andy's serve. You can see here again, he just kind of pushes the racket through. Starting with the stance, we got to make sure we're kind of looking at everything here. I would really work on getting him loaded here more. I would keep that elbow down. And he's got a good lead with the left hand. That looks really good. And I would get more long axis pronation in his serve. And that would make a big, big difference. So that's it. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Give us a like. Leave your comments down below. I'll certainly respond to your comments. Subscribe to our channel if you've not done so already. Thanks so much for watching today's video, and we'll see you in the next lesson. See you soon. Thank you.